Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
I'm Chad McCanna.
And this week we are joined by a special guest. Believe it or not, we are here with Brian Perry of Team Dakota.
Hey guys.
Hey, welcome. Thank you for agreeing to come on the show at such short notice. It's a pretty big day for you guys at Dakota.
Yeah, it is, but I'm kind of excited to be on this with you guys anyway, so I'm happy to be on here.
Excellent. So the episode is going out Saturday, but we're recording this on Thursday when Conker's big reunion and the Conker content pack have just launched for Project Spark. So I think it came out at noon today.
Noon
it wasn't
Eastern?
Yep.
Yeah.
Noon Eastern time. Yeah, 9 a.m. Pacific time because we're the last ones to wake up in the world.
Except for Japan. Or no,
That's
Japan
true.
are the first ones, right?
That's true. Yes,
Hawaii,
yes, they are.
then. The Pacific
Hawaii, I was going to
Islands,
say. Yes.
Right, so it was Hawaii that had to get up at the crack of dawn for this thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's convenient for them, though. They don't have to wait till midday. They can just, or our UK friends who have to wait till 5 p.m. No, it's waiting for them when they wake up.
Yeah, we actually have some people on the DK Vine staff that have been messing around with Conker and Spark, and they're all complaining about how they have to go to sleep to get up for work tomorrow. But it's been really nice it seems like there's been just an inundation of people, exploring not only the first episode of Big Reunion, but playing with the game creation mechanics in Project Spark just in the last few hours.
Yeah. It's really exciting. We've seen a huge spike in traffic definitely today.
Yeah.
Oh, that those servers are getting a hit.
Oh yeah. At 9 a.m. Right when Conker went out, 9 a.m. Things were actually they were chugging along pretty well, but we were worried that for a while there we were like, is it gonna make it? Is it gonna make it? Is it? And then it did.
Never underestimate the value of a good load tester.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm actually really grumpy right now because I had to work and I have not had a chance to play it yet. So
Full disclosure, we're coming into this totally green. So
cool. So let me spoil everything for you.
I actually bought an Xbox One last week just for Conker. Yes.
Wow, we better not disappoint you then.
I am such a hopeless fanboy when it comes to anything rare that it's amazing I didn't already have an Xbox One just for Kinect Sports Rivals. But
yeah, Royston the Goldfish from Banjo-Kazooie is in Kinect Sports Rivals.
No, that's Kinect Sports Season 2.
It's Mumbo Jumbo.
They had the kind of rare DLC packs where you had all the challenges from rare characters. So,
right. Yeah. So yeah, we obsessively follow anything branching out of Diddy Kong Racing essentially, and of course, Conker is one of those.
I know. It's so have you guys gone back and just listened to Conker's voice in Diddy Kong Racing?
Oh yeah, it's
of course.
I hear it every night as I try to sleep. It just blares in my brain.
That's very soothing for Hyle.
It is actually. I'm not complaining. I enjoy it, but yeah.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
So yeah, obviously we invited you on here to discuss Conker, and a little bit of history. The first time I had heard of Project Spark, shamefully, was last E3.
Sure.
When I was watching the Microsoft press conference, as I always do. I bought an Xbox, a 360, and now the Xbox One, mostly for rare properties. And then I find games I like later on. But so I'm watching and waiting to see if anything's going to be announced for rare, and the Project Spark trailer starts, and I'm not familiar with this game, and my initial thoughts are this kind of reminds me of a rare game. It kind of reminded me of Cameo Elements of Power, and I didn't know this was a game creation tool yet. I thought it was just this game that kind of resembled something Rare would have put out in the last decade,
and it had a really distinctive art style too.
Yeah,
that made it stand out from your typical beige first-person shooters.
And so I was initially thinking, is this a Rare game? And then I realized it wasn't, but I'm a big fan of anything that allows you to create or simulations. I'm big time SimCity fan, big time, and anything. I remember, Chad, we talked about this when I got a PC back in the mid 90s, Load Runner was installed, and it had had the tool that allowed you to create your own levels. And I thought that, like 12-year-old me thought that was the coolest thing ever, that you could actually create your own little video game using these assets they provided. So I'm watching this, and then I'm thinking, I wish it was a Rare game, but this is actually pretty cool. You actually won me over without Conker. And then at the end, this little red squirrel runs across the screen, and I was like, oh, man, I wish that was Conker. Just thinking, and then it's like I left my body, because then Conker walks out with the chainsaw, and I'm just like, wait, what's happened? Am I dead? What's happening? Out of all of the properties I would have expected, all the IPs I would have expected to suddenly appear on my screen, I think Conker would be dead last.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that blew everybody's minds on DK Vine.
Yeah, that franchise was essentially dead in the water, especially with Chris Seaver having moved on to Gory Detail.
Yeah,
right.
So yeah, none of us. I mean, we thought that essentially we were stuck with the 3 Conker games that we do have, plus Diddy Kong Racing, in perpetuity. So this was such a boon to that branch of our obsessive fandom. So it was a fantastic moment. If you go back and read the forum thread for that press conference, everyone just explodes.
It was disbelief. At first, I think it took about 20 minutes to realize, oh wow, that was Conker. Was that voiced by Chris Seaver? Oh, it was voiced by Chris Seaver. What is going on? And then, we didn't hear anything for the longest time, and then just in the last month, you guys basically revealed that most of the details. And I think what really blew us away was that you were going to have an in-canon story mode that basically continued Conker's life history, and I think that was what won over most of the doubters.
Well, so that's how we came to Spark. But I'm curious how you did. How did you get involved with this project?
I was. It was actually E3 of the previous year when Project Spark was just announced as this concept, way before it went into alpha or beta. And I'd always messed around with all these creation tools. I remember when I was a little kid, there was this thing called 3D Game Maker. It was just called 3D Game Maker, and it was this horrible little thing. But you could make 3D games. It was really bad graphics. But as a kid, you could make little tiny tweaks, and then you felt like you're making a game. So that really kind of inspired me to want to make games. And then when I saw this, it was sort of everything I ever wanted wrapped up. And so I was in the community for a while building stuff, and I put somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 hours into Project Spark in beta. And I guess that was enough hours for Team Dakota to say, hey, how about you come over and actually work on the community side of things? Because I was a community manager for a bunch of tech companies, and that was an immediate yes for me. Yeah. So,
we might as well pay him for all these hours.
Exactly. Yeah. I actually joined Team Dakota back in November last year. Been here about 6 months, and so it was really interesting. I was actually, like you guys, on the outside watching E3 2014, and I myself am a huge Conker fan. It was for me, N64 was Mario, Zelda, and Conker. Those are the 3 things for me that were near and dear for growing up. Super Mario 64 was the thing that blew my mind initially because it was this 3D world. Right. Then Ocarina of Time was this thing that blew my mind because of the storytelling aspect. And then Conker blew my mind because I realized for the first time things can be funny. That was a concept that had, as a kid, I just didn't understand that things could be really funny. And so when I first saw it, I got really excited also. And I actually was really confused because I kept on thinking, how are they going to make this work? This is from the outsider perspective, I was like, this seems like a weird choice. But then as I joined Team Dakota and I saw everything they were working on, it's, I think I've used the metaphor before. It's kind of like peanut butter and apples. It goes together really well, but it doesn't sound like it at first.
Yeah.
And so, that's my life plus Conker-ish a bit in a nutshell.
Which is really the most important part of your life.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Wait, I was actually falling asleep until you mentioned Conker. I was like, whoa!
3D Game Maker? Who gives a shit?
It was such a
Successfully
bad...
employed, boring, but no. Conker the squirrel. Now we're talking. No.
Yeah, I remember some of those utilities back in the day as well. Like, there was one that I used to use called Multimedia Fusion and one called the Games Factory. And
I remember the Games Factory, yeah.
Yeah, they were very similar to... they were like a 2D version of what you just described.
Yeah.
Those were so much fun. And what I loved about those utilities is how much freedom they gave you. And I was honestly a little skeptical about Project Spark to begin with. You know, usually when games claim to allow you to create something, you feel so boxed in. But everything I've seen about Spark, I've seen people that are making 2D platformers. You guys were just on the Twitch stream playing this game where you've got Conker and Teddy's rolling around on balls, whacking each other. I mean, I've seen you guys make a Jet Force Gemini looking third person shooter. I mean, it's wild how much freedom is in a utility that like a layman can use.
It is kind of crazy. I have yet to see a single game mechanic or game type that hasn't been built in Project Spark. Every time I think, oh, someone can't build this, and then they make it. We just had someone make a music video in Project Spark just using our in-engine sounds. They made their own music creation software just using code tiles, and then they made a music video to pair along with it. Crazy stuff like that people are making.
That is awesome. I love that. Also, it does have that capability to just do locked in cutscenes and that kind of thing. And that's kind of I sort of shared that sentiment about Conker. Does that make sense? Because it is such a cutscene heavy game that you would think that aside from you could have Creceiver record every word in the dictionary, but it would still sound like Siri. But the way that it's been approached and like the degree of camera control that everyone has and how you can do custom animations via the Kinect, like every little bit of information that's been doled out since last year's E3 has sort of reinforced the notion that Conker was like a perfect choice for this platform.
Yeah, it really is. The more and more we worked with it, the more we realized that we can really get away with making a Conker-like game here, guys.
I have a sort of a little bit more. So we do have people of varying degrees of familiarity with Project Spark.
Sure.
So there may be some things that you probably have answered ad nauseum. But this one is a little bit more of a technical question about like the capabilities of the game or game creation game. Like I've seen that you represent if-then statements as like when, do.
Yes.
Does it also support like and, or, and not kind of statements that you could use to make any logic gate possible?
Yes, we do. So if-then are, like you said, when, do. We do have and, we do have or, we have else. We do have not. We have every type of Boolean, every type of variable. I could go into really technical stuff also, but yeah, I mean, you can do vector math if you wanted to.
Wow.
That really fun vector math. Oh, God.
This is about the time when I switched from a comp sci major to an RTVF major. So you're losing me at the vector math, but everything else, I remember my digital logic very well.
Yeah.
But that's
people have gone crazy. Like when you put vector math in there, people use that for really crazy things. So yeah, you can go crazy mad scientist on Project Spark.
That's so cool. I remember hearing that there were logic gates in Minecraft and someone actually constructed a working hard drive out of blocks. And like I fully expect that concept to just be taken to an extreme running on Spark and someone's Windows 8 machine.
Yeah, we actually had someone make Project Spark inside of Project Spark. That was the coolest thing that we've seen. Like they literally built all of Project Spark, all of the creation tools, everything inside of Project Spark. It was crazy.
That's the most metatextual game. Like I thought that Conker talking directly to the programmer at the end of Bad Fur Day was meta, but that's a new level.
Yeah. And it was called Project Spark, and it was it's a crazy thing.
And then at that point, you just realize you've made a Christopher Nolan movie inside Project Spark, and it just folds in on itself.
We've got to go deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we were really worried what they'd make next, because we thought this person would make time travel in Project Spark, like real world time travel. So we're really afraid what they make next after Project Spark.
That's actually going to be a spec script we write for the eventual Family Matters revival chat. Urkel creates time travel with Project Spark.
Well, they're bringing back Full House. That one's gotta be next.
Exactly. We're not going to talk about that this week, though.
I mean, we can. We do have, another half an hour at least.
That's true. We'll see. We'll see what we get to. So, okay, that's Project Spark in a nutshell. But let's talk about Conker, because I think most of our audience, they haven't committed to Project Spark. They either don't have the proper Windows software, or they don't have an Xbox One, and they might be on the fence about, does Conker's Big Reunion and the Conker Creation Pack do Conker justice? We've actually been more enthusiastic here on DK Vine than I think some corners of the internet, some dusty corners where there's been a lot of, I don't know, eyebrow raising, and I think after so many years of not having a game, they're like, they don't understand that this is a game, that this is not just cashing in on the brand. So
it's like this really unfortunate skeptical eye that, people don't realize that this series, this franchise that we love so much was dead. This is bringing it back from the dead with the original voice actor, with support from Rare. So like we're taking it at that level, we're just happy to have something, and the fact that it seems so good is a bonus.
I you mentioned some familiarity with Conker, but we would be remiss if we didn't ask this question, which I feel like most of our audience is waiting for with bated breath. Have you ever played Conker's Pocket Tales?
I actually have not played Conker's Pocket Tales. I know about it.
Well,
but yeah, that'll take points. That'll totally take points off. But I'm being honest. I never played Conker's Pocket Tale. I had a Game Boy Color, and I loved Big Reunion. But I was like, I don't know about this one.
Well, we're
but
prepared.
Apparently, I missed an insanely awesome experience, because I'm looking at what that one guy is Agent Ape is making.
Super Kong's nephew.
Yeah. He on Twitter he's Agent Ape.
Yeah.
On our forum he goes by Super Kong's nephew. Yeah.
I'm not sure which one is his real name, but
well, maybe one's like a first name, the other one's a last name.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, he's doing like a quote unquote HD version in Project Spark of that game using Conker assets.
Yeah, so honestly, when I first saw that, I realized, oh man, I really need to go back and play Conker's Pocket Tales, because this actually looks really good.
So Conker's Pocket Tales is kind of a weird one, because
that's putting it lightly.
That's putting it very lightly. Well, first off, it's 2 games, because it was one of those black cartridges where if you put it in a Game Boy, you can play it. And
there's only a few black cartridges for the Game Boy Color. Yeah.
Oh,
Link's Awakening
those.
DS was another one.
Yep.
But yeah, if you put it in the Game Boy Color, basically it's an entirely different game. I mean, at a high level, it has the same structure of like you go to the Vultureville, and then you go to Crow's Keep, and then you go to Windy Woods. But when you actually get into the game, the layout and everything is completely different depending on whether it's a Game Boy or a Game Boy Color. So there's that at first, and then there's just the fact that every character in that game is just like it's half an afterthought and half batshit insanity.
It's a piss take. That's really what it is. It's like the Conker team was losing faith in their own vision before they made the switch to Bad Fur Day, and so it's just this kind of there's acorn people, and there's like vaguely sinister tones where like the main villain, Evil Acorn, just straight up threatens to murder your girlfriend.
By the way, that is literally his name. Yeah, Evil Acorn.
Like when I said it's a piss take, I'm being completely honest, and it's honestly, I mean, it's an okay little game. It shouldn't inspire the devotion it does among those who have played it, but I think it's kind of like a secret handshake at this point. Like, have you played Conker's Pocket Tales?
Yeah. And also, we really embrace the obscure to an unnecessary degree at DK Vine, and this game is certainly obscure.
Yeah, I'm really tempted to find it because I recently just refound my Game Boy Color, and I forgot how many great games there were for that, but I could probably find it somewhere on eBay.
Yeah, it's worth tracking
I'm really
down.
curious.
Yeah.
I'm especially curious the more and more I've heard about it. I knew obviously by working on Conker all of the broad stroke details about it, but I definitely do need to check that out.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious so Conker is the first pre-existing IP that was considered for Project, or I don't know if it was the first considered, but it's the first one that's actually been applied to Project Spark.
Sure.
Now, I mean, it's an M-rated game. If you're from ESRB territories, and I think it's like a PEGI 18 elsewhere.
Yeah.
But it's known for its scatological humor, sexual references. Like it doesn't seem like that would be the first choice to make. Now you said you joined the team in November, but were you privy to any of the decision making around? How did Conker come to be applied to Spark?
Yeah, so it actually started with a simple thing where Phil Spencer was on one of our streams with us, and a fan, I really think it was just one fan, tweeted, Conker and Project Spark would be amazing together. And that actually, really, that's what kind of set things in motion. We were really thinking about it, and the more the team thought about it, the more they realized that this is very different and pushes the envelope in a very different way, and it's very unexpected. And that's very interesting. And so that's why the team continued to go down that route, because, Project Spark is an E10 game and Conker is an M squirrel. And so what does that look like? And we decided to just stay true to Conker.
Nice. And it also, like, when you really think about...
My question is, who is that fan, and can we give him a medal?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know who it is, because I'm really curious too. So the fan might be part of your community. I don't know, but whoever that nameless fan is, you are probably you could possibly be the sole reason why you guys get Conker's Big Reunion. So thank you, one person.
Wow.
Maybe we shouldn't laud them too much, because we've had some shady people come from our community.
Every now and then we have someone that makes waves in a bad way. Yeah. Yeah, but if you think about the actual design of Conker's Bad Fur Day, it more so than other games, especially the sort of Nintendo mindset in general, or at least the one that Miyamoto really pushes for, they like to obscure the fact that you're playing a game to make it more immersive. But Conker Bad Fur Day wore that on its shoulder. You literally press context sensitive buttons, and the end game you're saved by the programmer of the game. So
it really is an interactive movie.
And
for the N64, which is incredible.
And so it seems like perfectly applicable to Project Spark, where everyone is the programmer. You can create a context sensitive button and have anything happen to it, and you don't really have to go, you don't have to create a tutorial mode where you trick the player into learning moves. You can literally, it makes sense in a Conker game to just let it be a game.
Yeah, and you can, the great thing about Conker is you can let him tell you that this is a game, by the way, and here are my instructions, and here's how you do my helicopter tailspin thingy.
Yeah.
And here's by the way, I don't have this animation anymore, but I can still do this. And this thing I kind of forgot along the way. So it's really fun that you can basically have Conker be that direct voice to the gamer.
I'm really excited to play it. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my Xbox One right now, and it's kind of making this come hither look to me. So what we found interesting was, obviously, this isn't Conker's debut on the Microsoft platform. 2005, there was Conker Live and Reloaded for the original Xbox, and yet all the designs in this game pretty much hew to the original Bad Fur Day designs. So
there are some teddies that use the Live and Reloaded look.
They have the helmets, yeah. Do you know what the decision-making process was, as far as we want to go with the original N64 looks of the characters versus what was on the Xbox?
And by the way, that was the right choice.
Yeah, it was the first choice that we made. It was a really early decision that we made, just that was what we were going for. And it actually, the interesting thing is we are going to continue to add more Conker stuff into Project Spark. So we actually might get to a point where we'll add in Bad Fur Day, Live and Reloaded theme things. But we wanted to hit on Bad Fur Day first because that's the definitive original Conker experience. Well, besides Pocket Tales, obviously. But,
Of course.
You're learning.
It's also really, really lovely the art style that was used here, and Live and Reloaded, that they really pushed the envelope in what we kind of affectionately call furry shenanigans, where they use that fur generation that. Only to date, I've really seen it in a game where it actually looks like those old renders, and I'm thinking of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. You could still sort of see the programming behind it back in the Live and Reloaded days, but they did make it look like a beautiful game. But I love the fact that you totally eschewed that with the Spark version of Conker, and you sort of, not only do I imagine that it makes the game run much more smoothly, but it also gives Conker a really unique look that I think fits the world very well. Do you have it? Was there like a conversation about making it mesh with the Project Spark look, or was that just kind of at the outset a decision made that we want to redesign Conker?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely did look at bringing him to Spark. We did want to bring in some of the Spark influence, and it just so happened that Conker's Bad Fur Day also, its artistic style was actually very similar, obviously a lot smaller polygon count, but very similar to what the art style we have built in Project Spark. So it was really natural it was a very natural decision to say we're going with the Bad Fur Day look, and the more we delved into it, just the more natural it felt. As we were building all the characters, they felt like new kind of HD updated versions of what was present in Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Gotcha. Now, I'm also curious, specifically as it pertains to the big reunion episode 1, which I'm hoping there will be future episodes. It may be premature to announce. Have you made an announcement yet?
No, we haven't. We are holding our cards close to our chest there.
Well, we'll just assume.
And we actually have cards, too.
Oh, nice. Are they against humanity? That might be appropriate for Conker.
That would be, oh man. I'm now imagining a Conker Cards Against Humanity board game.
Okay, consider this the tweet that gets that made. Well, assuming that there are more, but we can focus the question on the first episode.
Sure.
How much input did Rare have, or even Chris Seaver, who famously wrote the first script with Robin Beanland? Like, how much input did they have on, since it is a canonical continuation of the Bad Fur Day story, on actually what happens in Big Reunion?
Yeah, it was actually, they were both involved from a very early on stage. We showed the script to Rare throughout the development of it, got their feedback, and showed it to Chris as well, got his feedback on it. We got a lot of really great feedback on him about Conker, some very subtle things that might go over other people's heads, to make sure that the way we portrayed Conker's character is as Conker would be portrayed. And he was really, honestly, he was such a great resource to us. He was, the amount of dedication, and he really did this, mostly as a favor to us, to make sure that we got it right. And he kind of really got behind what we were building, though. So it was amazing working with him, especially, and getting all of his feedback on everything we were doing. And it was amazing working with the Rare team, and a lot of Rare people we were working with were people who were working on the original Conker, like Louise, who was one of the top animators. She also was the voice of Barry. She was part of,
and the Sunflower.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. and the Sunflower. And she was involved in the process of looking at, so they were very involved. And actually, one of the first things we did when we were working with Rare, and we were kind of proving to them how we could do Conker right in Project Spark, is one of our lead environment environment designers, Matt Lucas. He wanted to just make sure he was getting the art style right and could make sure that the Project Spark art style fit with Conker's art style. So he rebuilt the first 10 minutes of Conker's Bad Fur Day over the course of 2 days in Project Spark. And
I saw that video. That was amazing.
And the crazy thing is he did it in 2 days, and he actually didn't mean for it to be shared with Rare. But when our team saw that, we said, we have to show this to Rare. We have to show them how close we can get to it. And when we showed that to them, they were blown away by what we're doing, and they have been kind of since then. Like, we even worked with them, and the list of all those community games that came out today. We kind of show them off to Rare, and they're insanely excited about playing and trying out all those games. They're just they've been a great partner this entire time too. So it's actually been a very nice, close collaboration with just at any point going to them, asking them how to do certain things, getting all the original music from them, original sound files from them, so we could make sure that some of them we could remaster, and other ones we could make sure that we get right with with the sound effects that we were doing. So it was this really great close quartered project.
Yeah, I really love that, especially, you said, Chris himself was focused on making sure that Conker, the character, was accurate. And that's something that Rare really did back in the day. They focused on character, in addition to gameplay, of course. And when
now people think we're crazy when we say this, that we're reading too much into it, but it's true. When you look at Rare's games, they really did. They were more than just soulless player avatars. They really did have kind of personality and life history behind them, and you definitely got a sense of who they were, and it kind of, those of us who picked up on it, it made us appreciate that world a lot more. So it's great to hear that such care was taken.
Are there any tidbits that you can drop that Chris Seaver told you about how Conker should be portrayed?
Yeah, so actually a really interesting thing is he was the one who kind of told us that, Conker doesn't really curse. That's not Conker himself. He's not the foul-mouthed squirrel. He's reacting to everyone cursing around him. He said, I think it was either a total of 2 or 3 curse words the entirety of Bad Fur Day.
Yeah, he says, asses to you. He says,
yes.
There was something in the caveman fight, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah, it's just once or twice.
He says mother buzzers, but that's not really cursing.
Right. Yeah. I don't count that as cursing. That's like tiptoeing around like close to a curse. But so he was like, that was really great feedback initially we got from him, that we were trying too much to be like, yeah, we're edgy, and he was like, no, this is how Conker relays, this is how he talks. And so we took that feedback. And that's actually probably partly why we might have gotten the T rating, because we weren't actually going for a T rating. It's just sort of we happened to have one.
Nice. Yeah, I think that people might be looking at that sort of cockeyed, and thinking that they can't say cockeyed in the game. But it is sort of, Conker was the audience surrogate, to use like screenwriting terminology. So all the insanity is around him, and if you're giving the freedom to the player to create that insanity, then of course the core character of Conker himself is not going to be that profane. It makes perfect sense to me, but I'm hoping people won't say, you've downgraded it, you're watering it down.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't at all about watering down. It was about being true to Conker, and it just, that's why, I did see some, obviously some people were a bit sad that when they saw the T instead of M rating, but honestly, once you play it, you'll be kind of surprised what we were able to fit in there. That's all I'll say.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it really is more about attitude than it is about just profanity, and I think that I'm eager to see what you've done, but I think it sounds like you definitely preserve that edginess that's definitely true to the world, if not Conker himself. So I really think people just need to stop looking for faults.
Yeah. Oh yeah. People love to pick apart something, especially on the internet.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, that's the fun of it, though. That's really the fun of it.
We did it for a decade. Trust me, you just lose a part of your soul each time you do it. It's more fun to be excited about the games you want to play versus just finding things to nitpick. It's draining.
maybe we're just getting old, but
I think that's it. Yeah, we're getting old, but damn it, we still love our cartoon squirrels. You mentioned Chris Seaver, Ed. I love how much of a role he had to play, but I still have to know, like, how the hell did you land him? Because I mean, Chris Seaver, he was gone. He left Rare. He formed his own studio. How did you get him back?
Yeah, I honestly don't know the full story behind that. I just know that we early on approached him, and I guess we gave him such a good pitch on what we were doing that he said yeah, and he helped us out along the way. And the entire time he's been so great with our team that he's been behind it the whole way. So that was definitely a huge boon to us, I will say.
That's got to be a bit of a confidence booster, I can imagine, if everyone on the team are fans.
I mean, with any team, when you're taking on something as iconic as someone like Conker, or many other video game characters out there are iconic, it's really intimidating because you're always worried. What if we get it wrong? And so that was a huge confidence boost. Both Chris Seaver and Rare, both seeing what we were making and being completely supportive of it and saying you're doing it right. That was a great thing for us. And so far today, we've seen a lot of the general community have all said that it feels like a Conker game. It feels like we've got it right. So that's the most rewarding thing, honestly, for us. Just if we hear the fact that yes, you got Conker right, that is by far the most rewarding thing for our team to hear from anyone. Yeah, and if we got it wrong, then we'll try and do better next time, guys.
Yeah, just patch it.
Well, I'll tell you the point where I knew you got Conker right was in the trailer when he said, and Chad can do a killer Conker impression, so I won't even attempt it. But where Conker said,
"It's been 10 years since we've had another game. Guess we'll have to make our own."
Well, thank you, Chad.
Is that the line you're referring to?
No. In the most recent trailer where he says, "I'm no hero."
Oh yeah. That was great.
And that just sold us. Like, okay, these guys get Conker. He's not your standard video game protagonist. He's a little down on himself.
Yeah, because Conker's Bad Fur Day was such a depressing game.
It really was.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, I remember being an angsty 15-year-old and just replaying that end credits, that little kind of chiming thing with the wind and the thunder, like over and over and over.
It's so sad.
Yeah, like it's like, oh, so this is teen angst, and then I went and cut myself.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
But the teen angst, definitely. Like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was like, I fed off of it, and I'm like, this game is meaningful. But it's part of it's a piss take, and part of it's sincere. But it definitely had like a unique tone that a lot of people forget about.
Yeah, it does, and also. I do enjoy that some of the people got that we were doing a parody. I was seeing some really funny comments from people saying, like, "This looks just like Inception. I don't agree with this." We're like, thank you. That's what we're going for.
Forgetting that half of Bad Fur Day was just movie parodies. I mean,
right.
It's
like you do realize Saving Private Ryan was like a third of the game.
Well, actually, also, even Live and Reloaded, its launch trailer was a total riff off of Terminator, where it starts out with like 4 million squirrels have died.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It's
all the skulls under the water. And
yeah, exactly.
It was the Sarah Connor monologue.
Yeah.
It's the game really leans heavily on those. Did you? Were those incorporated into Big Reunion? Without giving too much away to those who haven't played it.
Like us,
yeah. Not to put too fine a point on it.
Well, I guess for everyone who wants to play it, I won't give too many spoilers. So I'll just say there's a plethora of parodies that you'll see throughout Big Reunion. Probably some of them you'll probably miss because there's so many we like have back to back that you may have to play through again to catch all the different parodies we have in there. And there's some really fun little Easter eggs that we hope you guys all find.
Now I'm curious a little bit about the balance when you have. Even in a professional context, when you have fans sort of advancing a work that they are fans of, there's the risk of leaning too heavily on the past.
Oh yeah,
was that like an active consideration to make sure that you do chart your own course while staying true to the past?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the way we approached it is we just took it from the concept of what is Conker up to 10 years from now? And we also took it from the concept of we pared down Bad Fur Day to the simplest of its ingredients of what made it great. And it was a simple setup that leads to the craziest frickin' stuff you ever could imagine. I need to get home. And then that leads to all of these things. So we took that approach, and we really only used kind of those core ingredients to charter a way. And, we also base it off of the fact that Conker's all about parodying a lot of things. So we looked at more recent things that would be fun to parody. And so we had a lot of fun with that. So it's actually, the construct of Conker is so open that it was really easy for us to come up with our own story within there.
One of the holy grails of Conker fandom is Chris Seaver's Other Bad Day design, and a little of it has leaked out, and he said that one of the parodies he wanted to do was a Lord of the Rings thing, which obviously wasn't really in vogue when they were developing Bad Fur Day. I think Fellowship of the Ring came out 2001.
It came out later that year.
Yeah. So it wasn't quite ripe yet for it, but I'm wondering if you were granted any insight into what that game was supposed to be when making this one.
No, we didn't, and we didn't base ours at all on that because another important thing is we are building all this stuff for Conker inside of Project Spark, but it's not going to limit him from possibly being elsewhere in the future. And we also wanted to be canonical with our story, but also not potentially step on the toes of something that might come. So we wanted to steer clear of if, for instance, that ever were to come out. Just as fans, we don't have any insider knowledge on if that would come out. But as fans, we were like, we want to see this. This would be so cool.
That's okay. You're still employed by Microsoft. You have
you don't worry. You guys are the insiders at this point.
Plausible deniability.
That might be true.
And because you're the insiders, you've got to answer a continuity question for me.
Yes.
Okay,
sure.
So you've been saying it takes place 10 years after the events of Bad Fur Day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Bad Fur Day came out in 2001. So does this game take place in 2011, or are you counting the 10 years from Live and Reloaded, which is a decade ago?
I see it more as Conker is in an alternate universe.
Oh no! Okay, so we have a concept at DK Vine called the Word of God, and for these game universes, the developers or people on the development teams are God. So if they if they clarify something that's open to interpretation, we have to go with it. So answer carefully.
Yeah.
I know that's a lot of pressure for something that's utterly inconsequential.
Oh no! This is the fate of the entire DK Vine community rests with what he says next.
Well, I'll tell you this. This is kind of how we interpreted Live and Reloaded.
I would say that was actually going to be my question. So then, how would you interpret Live and Reloaded? It's the same story happening. 4 years later? So is it Groundhog Day?
So here's what it is. The game, the epilogue to both games is Conker drinking at the bar when he's, that
Space side, no ice.
that whole scene. And what our theory is that for Live and Reloaded, he was still at that bar, 4 years later, and he has gone to the depths of alcoholism to such a degree that his memories of the bad fur day are hazy, and that's why it plays out a little differently in Live and Reloaded. So only that
brilliant.
epilogue, that one scene where he's talking to the bartender in Live and Reloaded, takes place in 2005. Everything else everything else is a memory of the 2001 adventure.
You're scaring him, Chad.
We've thought these through. We are not mentally ill.
Well, then I don't know how specific I want to be with sequentially where that fits in compared to the other two. I guess you'll have to. All we have said is it's 10 years after the events of Bad Fur Day, so
Okay.
you can infer that how you want.
Ah.
So it could technically be. It could technically be based in 2011. It could technically be that he's in this perpetual Groundhog Day, and it's actually however many years you want to in the future. I don't
Is
know.
that a confirmation that Bill Murray will be an upcoming champion?
Oh my god. No, that's not, but I'm just thinking in my head, that would be amazing. That would be the best champion ever.
Microsoft did get Ryan Stiles from Whose Line Is It Anyway to appear on the promotional video for Live and Reloaded. So
that's right.
You
I
could
forgot
always
about
get
that.
Ryan Stiles as a champion, and I think that would satisfy a lot.
And here's the depth of our psychosis, Brian. Since that video was included on the game disc, to us it's canon.
It was included in the disc. It's
Nice.
included in the disc you got when you pre-ordered the game.
So Ryan Stiles is a Donkey Kong universe character.
Ryan Stiles is a friend of Conker and a Conker character. So
Oh, so then the nice thing is, you guys will have to look at all of the assets we have in our Conker creation pack and come up with your own analysis and understanding of how those are a important integral part of the Conker universe.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun because, thankfully Conker's Bad Fur Day did establish the concept of the programmer. So there is actually a way to make the what did you call it? The big remix, or there was a special name for the creation pack.
Oh yeah, Hail to the Remix.
Yes. So there's a way to make that canon.
Yes, there completely is. And you'll have to explain why there's a big lizard helmet in there, things like that.
Oh, the special set of moves. Oh, I love the disco one.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Oh yeah. Well, challenge accepted, sir.
Well, speaking of Project Spark itself, I guess the burning question we have is, was Big Reunion developed entirely in Project Spark, or did you guys kind of cheat a little bit and use like special dev utilities?
Nope, entirely in Project Spark. So the one thing that does mean is, and this is the thing that we were kind of sad that we couldn't have in there, is lip syncing to all the dialogue. We have as close as lip syncing as we can because we have emotes, but we don't have full lip syncing to the dialogue because we're using the Project Spark engine. But really, we got everything else down.
But it's still
That was, like, the
voice
one
acted
thing.
though, right?
Oh yeah, fully voice acted. Yep. We have an emote system. So, and you can like change the pacing. So actually, I was one of the people who was in charge of like frame by frame going through that, changing the pacing of the emote to make it fit as closely with what his lines are as possible. But yeah, that's really the only thing we couldn't quite get by building everything in the Project Spark engine. But what that means is actually anybody could theoretically go in, edit, and remix what we made and build on top of it. The caveat there is we use there's a lot of additional kind of packs in Project Spark, and you have to own all of the packs that are used in a level in order to remix it. So we use a lot of stuff in there.
So Conker's Big Reunion is actually, I guess, open source might not be the right term, but it essentially the Spark version of open source.
Yeah, it pretty much is. It's open to as long as you have all of the same packs that we use to build it, then you can go in there and edit it and save it yourself and make your build on top of it. Say you played through it and you're like, I did not like this one line right there. You can go through there and remove it and then play through that and say, this is so much better with this line not here
That
anymore.
is such a huge selling. Well, it's a selling point not to undermine the very thought out work that you guys have done for it, but that's such a cool idea that now remixing an actual game is an option outside, hacking a ROM.
If only like long-awaited follow-ups to beloved properties didn't all come with that option, like the Star Wars prequels. You can just I didn't like this bit here. Let me change that.
Jar Jar Binks is now a talking squirrel.
And yeah, so that's incredible. You said you couldn't get lip syncing to work. It makes me wonder, besides Chris Seaver, who did the voices in this game? Was it a bunch of people on Team Dakota?
No, Chris Seaver did every voice.
Really?
Yeah, so we have Conker, we have Birdie, we have the Teddies, we have Faho the Money Wad, and those are all Chris Seaver.
I love that you've made the name Faho official. I don't know if it's you who runs the Twitter account, but I was tweeting.
I do help with that. I did see the DK Vine tweet on that. It's official canon. We'll reveal it. Team Dakota is lifting the lid on that. It's the Money Wad is called Faho.
That's great. Is it an individual character or is it a series of Fahos?
That I will not answer and leave that up to speculation.
See, because that determines whether it goes in our character database or our drones database.
I know. So, is it Faho the Money Wad or is it Faho the family of Money Wads?
Ooh, okay.
Oh, well, it'd have to be more than one because he got more money in the game, so it would have to be a series of Fahos.
Or is it off screen? He continually escapes from Conker's pockets without you even knowing.
And Conker just doesn't realize he's not.
And every time
anywhere.
It's the exact same thing, and Conker has no idea.
Oh yeah, because he did escape from Birdie, so we know that they can do that. Interesting. Okay, you've basically over the course of this interview created about 20 new forum threads for us.
So wait, did you guys get like a Conker Bible at any point? Like this is the official Conker canon.
Yes, yes and no. There's not an official Bible that I know of. I wasn't privy to those early meetings, so for all I know, whatever, there could be. But the most of the stuff came from direct conversations with Rare and with Chris Seaver, and just getting your thoughts on just the whole canon and all the characters and all of that stuff.
Well, Chad, do you have anything you want to add?
I think that, okay, so we like to call ourselves a community of like-minded weirdos, but we are reasonable weirdos. So we're not going to ask for this, but what would it take to get at least one Conker's Pocket Tales character in a future content pack?
Just one.
I'll even make it easy for you. There is a society of acorn people, and they're basically the Mr. Potato Head of the Conker world. So if you give us one acorn that can be appropriated into a character, we can dress it up however we like.
Yeah, that's a really fun idea. You can, so I think Agent Ape has actually already recolored Conker black and white, and he looks just like
he made Honker the skunk.
Yeah.
By the way, I know fully well that I'm putting you on the spot, and you do not have to answer that question.
Yeah, no. What I'll say to that is we have a lot of plans with Conker, and we're a team that never says no to anything because you never know.
It's clear that you're going to go far in this industry because that was a perfect non-answer for a community liaison.
Right, exactly. It makes it sound like it's coming, but we didn't say it was coming or not.
Yeah, all you're doing is lighting our forum on fire, as you should.
Yeah.
Well, it's more than I thought I'd ever get with the Acorn people again. So you've given us hope where there was once none. So thank you.
At least we can put googly eyes on everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, it's so fun to put googly eyes on everything. Every single thing is better with googly eyes. That's what we found.
Those are words to live by. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We know you've got to get to a meeting across the country, so we don't want to hold you up too much longer. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and we really look forward to getting our hands on the game. It's like Hyle said, so it's we're chomping at the bit for it, and it's
champing.
Champing, is that the
champ?
proper?
It's champing.
Is that what horses do?
Yes,
okay.
they champ.
Okay, great. That's the only tangent we had. Usually it's like 30 minutes of that stuff.
I know.
Anyway, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
Oh yeah, of course. No, it was such a pleasure being here. I will say I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys and the whole DK Vine community, what you think of Conker, what you think of Big Reunion, the episode 1. We love hearing feedback in general, and we love hearing suggestions on what we should do next with Conker.
Acorn people.
Maybe we should plug this one last time. It's Conker's Big Reunion and Conker Hail to the Remix. Both available now for Project Spark on Xbox One and Windows. Is it Windows 8?
8.1.
8.1.
Update your Windows 8, everyone.
Yes, exactly. Windows 8 is old. Get 8.1.
This has been a File 2 production.
Qué rico.